Thank you for letting me do this again.
Yeah, of
Appreciate
course.
it. Yeah. So, just a few questions, kind of just more towards you. I was just kind of curious, like when you were like middle school and like high school, have you always wanted to be like a business owner, or like what did you remember saying what you wanted to be at that age, if you remember?
Well, it's kind of funny because my dad was a business owner.
Oh, nice.
And he was an engineer, and he came out here to work for Boeing. And he started up a company that manufactured plywood and did other products. And ultimately, that business failed. So honestly, I was a little scared of being a business owner. And I did very well in school, both junior high and high school. And I don't know if at that point that I thought about being a business owner. I really enjoyed writing, so I thought it might involve writing. But I guess as far as your follow-up question might be, how did I end up getting there? So I started working for McDonald's, and I really started because I had a friend that worked there. And I was a junior in high school. Yeah, and I just basically, I went to 2 years of college, and I just kind of looked at each step, the next step, and thought, I can do this next step, and it'll work for me. And then at some point, you see the opportunity that's there, and I think it's something that you evolve towards. And as you gain more confidence and understanding of what it is you're doing and what that potential is, I think that at some point you see that this could be an opportunity
definitely
for me. So
sweet. I guess kind of like along your like journey to like be where you are now, was it hard? Was it easy? Like, was there challenges you had to overcome?
Yes to all of that. I think I guess a few things that I would throw out there is that I think sometimes people think, I can go from 0 to 60 overnight, and there certainly are some people that manage to do that.
Yeah.
But I would also put that kind of in the same realm of the person that, I pitched in high school for baseball. And as much as I love baseball, I knew it wasn't I wasn't going to be the guy that makes the minor or major leagues. And, there are people that do that, so you don't want to crush that type of dream, and there are the Bill Gates in the world.
Definitely.
And people like that. But, and not that people shouldn't try for that, but I think it's more about being realistic in what those next steps are, and taking advantage of that. So in some ways it was easy because at some point you have to get comfortable in your own skin about what it is that you really like and what it is that you enjoy doing. And I love McDonald's because it's fast-paced. And even though people from the outside might look at it and say, you do the same thing all the time, you really don't. And I think McDonald's was something that gave me and others the freedom to kind of, as they worked their way up, in a way they were kind of running their own business. In that given more freedom to do a variety of things than maybe another company might allow for somebody at that age, at a very young age. So whether it's hiring, people development, inventory management, cash management, all of those types of things. And you think about somebody that does, the order, for example, for one of our restaurants. I mean, they're ordering $1 million worth of supplies every year. And, there's not many 19 or 20-year-olds that get the opportunity to do that. That may or may not be something you do for the rest of your life, but it's a big responsibility.
Definitely.
And it's something that you need to get right. So I think because I enjoyed what I was doing, I think that part was easy, but there's lots of challenges. And I think it's just like any endeavor that you really care about. Some of the things that the best rewards aren't always the things that just immediately happen for you. Sometimes you have to struggle a little bit.
Learn from your failures.
And it's more meaningful when you do versus, hey, I got it on the first try, this was no big deal. And some of those things were the case. And you quickly find out that in managing people, it's a whole different thing. You're a coach, you're a leader, you're those types of things. And again, some people might minimize, well, it's a restaurant. But it's true of any business that you're leading. You're leading, and you're trying to make things happen in a way that you feel good about. And I think you find out pretty quickly it's not about what other people think. It's about you. It's what your own standards and what your own expectations are.
So do you think it was like you just had like a good mindset back then? So like even when like times were tough, like you had a positive mindset maybe towards to keep
Yeah.
pushing and not give up and just find
So-
the positives?
So I think one of the benefits that I had from being in sports, and I think something that sports gives you, is that you're not always going to win, but you got to pick yourself back up. And I don't want to make it sound like it's overly difficult, but I think that mindset of, so much of life is just about the attitude and the approach you have, and
Yeah, I agree with that.
but most everything else is pretty small stuff and pretty
Yeah.
minor stuff. But if you let that small stuff get you down, it will stop you. And I've just seen over and over again, one person might be stopped by their own mindset, and another person who's incredibly positive about things is immediately effective in the same role.
Yeah.
So I think it's almost always about mindset. And it's funny because I always try to greet everybody, and it's like, hi Pierce, how you doing today? You're not the kind of person that says, oh, I'm tired.
No,
Oh.
even maybe when I am,
Yeah.
I guess one last question. What does it take to kind of like be in like the business owner, like business industry that you're in?
As far as being a business owner, I just think there's a lot of different things, and I think for any business, you can't lose sight of where, for lack of a better word, where is the action, where is the most important function of that business?
Yeah.
And really, the most important function of most businesses, especially any retail business, is where the customers are.
Yeah.
So all the other things are important and in some cases critical. All those things have to happen, but those are kind of like a greens fee. Because ultimately you're going to be successful or not successful
Yeah.
based on how customers perceive you and how, more importantly, customers actually act in regards to your business. So when you look at that, you've always got to keep your eye on that, even though you have to do all these other things behind the scenes. But what makes it all work is
But
what
they don't
happens.
they don't run the business.
Yeah,
exactly.
if it's working at the customer level long term, then you're going to be successful. Yeah, I mean beyond that, I mean you got to be smart, you've got to be disciplined. When you start talking about capital and money, I mean you need to always think about what the reinvestment needs
Exactly.
are going to be. Nothing lasts forever, and so it's kind of like somebody that's living on a paycheck. If you spend every last penny of that paycheck, you're probably never going to put yourself ahead. And there may be times that you have to do that because you don't have a choice, but you always need to be thinking ahead, 3 years, 5 years, even 10 years.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of never done, and you're constantly reinvesting. And the last thing I would make on that is resources are precious, but it's also time, and it's also people, and you can only be in so many places at once, and you can only spend so much time with any one person. So one of the few decisions you really get to make is how you're going to spend all of those resources.
Yeah.
And it's not just for the business owner, it's for everybody else. You're given a limited amount of those things. So those are kind of the two resources that you're always trying to make a decision on how you're going to spend.
Sweet, perfect.